all you cool cats and kittens. It's Carol Baskin, and you're watching the Sanitarium with Leatherface. Rawr!
Woke up in the sanitarium. In the ring, I feel like Leatherface. Run up, then I bury you. They know the vibes when I'm coming through. They told you lies, but we know the truth. Vibes, gotta let it loose. Yeah, I'm gone, I can't feel my face gone. You won't see my face gone. Feel like Leatherface gone. Feel like Leatherface. Sanitarium. Better get up, sick, make him spit up. Witch, cough his ribs up. Bitch, bathe in his blood. Better get up, sick, make him spit up. Witch, cough his ribs up. Bathe in his blood. Woke up in the sanitarium.
Here is your host, me. Welcome to the Sanitarium. Date is June 17th, 2023. Live out of Roxborough, North Carolina. Hee-haw! Yeah, there ain't no hee-haw going around here. There's snakes and shit everywhere. But what's up? Leatherface here live Saturday night. Another installment of the Sanitarium podcast with me and El Guapo.
Hola, señor.
Hola.
¿Cómo está? What's happening?
Not much, man. Just living the dream. That's the best I can really explain it. So what's going on, my man? What's going on?
Same shit, different day. Just looking forward to another Saturday night on the Sanitarium.
Yeah, this keeps getting more and more interesting, huh? I mean, we keep bringing some badass people on.
Yeah, well,
we have dangerous people. We have Carol Baskin. She's pretty dangerous. We all know why.
I want to get Carol back on here. We definitely need like a round two with Carol.
Carol was awesome. I mean, hell, if we get like around about $500 together, we can book the Joe Exotic from prison to get on the phone and join us via live on that show too.
That would be hilarious. I love Carol though. I mean, I personally, whether she killed her husband or not, I mean, some people need to die. So I mean, what's the big deal?
Yeah, he became tiger food. It is what it is. You know.
He liked cats, and then he got eaten by cats. What's that? Not a problem.
Yeah, be into
nope.
weird, you know.
No risk, no reward.
So man, how's the weather down in Florida? Pretty swamp ass for you down there. It's hot.
Swamp ass hot. It is 100%, like damn near 100% humidity out here. It's
88 degrees,
still 85,
80 degrees, 100% humidity. It feels like 110 in a fucking spa or something. You know.
That's what it feels like. But so we got this guy Patrick Bergy today. There's a PFC, 40-year-old PFC in the Army.
He's pretty badass. Let me pull this picture up here.
That's pretty interesting. I mean, I went through boot camp at like 20. I think I might have been in boot camp, 19 or 20, and it was tough. But I can't imagine going through it at 40.
Oh, geez. Yeah, Patrick Bergy. He's also an author of the book, well-known book called Operation Shadowgate. And he has a sequel to it too. And it's definitely, some good old classic American cloak and dagger. It's not, not Russian based or anything, but it's definitely some fuckery went on, and we're going to talk about that tonight. It's pretty honored to have him on. He don't go on too many shows, and he's a fan of the Sanitarium. He likes, he likes to show what he saw with Anthony on there, and we're pretty honored to have him on. I mean, this guy is pretty. He's done the deeds. He's paid the dues. He's a bad motherfucker.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing his story and the story about how he got pictures of Hunter Biden's poop.
Oh, jeez. That's going to be an interesting story. But also, we're also going to release to the public a new South Park character based upon what you just talked about. But you have to wait to the end of the roundtable for that. But yeah. South Park character, a brand new character being announced here on the Sanitarium tonight. And it has to do with Hunter Biden's poop.
Do Matt and Trey know about this, or are we just throwing this at them?
We're going to have someone knocking on our door within the next 48 hours over it. Just put it that way.
Prepare for the cease and desist.
Yeah, it's stuff we're not, you know. I'm pretty sure what we're going to show is stuff we're not supposed to have or be showing. So, but you know,
maybe they could make it like a new menu item at Casa Bonita. The poo-poo platter.
The poo-poo platter. Oh, jeez. Phil made it funny. Phil made it funny.
Once in a while.
Well, look at that. You
look
can
at
see
that handsome motherfucker.
Yeah, you like your. I lost train of thought. I was gonna say something hella fucked up.
You were mesmerized in
you're lucky
in my masculinity.
It was gonna be great. I don't know. Yeah, well, I don't know.
It's the hat. It's this.
I don't know about the masculinity part, but you definitely had something coming your way. So, but yeah, we'll go ahead and shoot to our favorite commercial, which is a tradition here on the Sanitarium.
Fudge.
But first but not least, I want to thank my mask maker here. And if you see the Leatherface mask here in the background, the Mask Vault, the Godfather of masks here on Instagram,
nice.
remade my Leatherface mask for me. It's pretty awesome. Nice. And I'll show you some more of that a little bit later. It's fun. I didn't sew the dreadlocks onto it, so
you're gonna go back in the ring anytime soon?
Fuck no.
Come on, gotta be some indies in North Carolina that'll let you get in there.
I would fucking pummel these rednecks. It'd be a slaughter. It'd be a slaughter.
Oh, we gotta have that on the show.
A slaughter on the show. Yeah, we can do
fly X out for a tag team.
Oh, jeez.
I'll be your manager. I'll get out there and talk shit.
You need a manager. El guapo.
El guapo.
Here we go. Commercial. We'll be right back.
The best fudge comes from Uranus. Uranus, Missouri. That felt good. Tastes even better. Wow. Deep in the crack of America's heartland, the citizens of Uranus are bursting to give you their amazing fudge. That's right, fudge from Uranus. I'm not fudging with you. We're literally in Uranus. That's the mayor of Uranus, and you can get your fudge out the back door at UranusGeneralStore.com. And we're not fudging with you. I'm as serious as a fudging horse kick to the side of your fudging head.
I am as serious as forgetting your fudging anniversary.
I'm serious as skid marks on your fudging undies.
I'm serious as fudging a pregnancy test.
I'm serious as fudging the presidential election.
I'm serious as fudging the bar exam.
Uranus squeezes out so many different fudges that they have a fudge for everyone. They got blueberry fudge, chocolate fudge, vanilla fudge, chocolate pecan fudge, mint chocolate fudge, cookies and cream fudge, peanut butter fudge, M&M fudge, toffee bar fudge. There's a fudge for everyone. Right now I'm making the mayor's #2 favorite flavor of fudge. You can try some at UranusGeneralStore.com. Click now. That is some yummy fudge from Uranus. The best fudge does come from Uranus, Mr. Mayor. That's my dad. Go to UranusGeneralStore.com and order the best fudge and fudge this side of the Mississippi. And the other fudge inside, too. We can't contain it anymore. Uranus is about to explode across your screen and your front door.
Ooh, fudge!
Quit prairie dogging and order the best fudging fudge ever. Hey, Mr. Prairie Dog. So if digging for fudge in Uranus isn't your thing, then bring your fingers over here. Uranus offers a lot more than fudge. They got fudging magnets. They got fudging hats and the hottest fudging calendars of Uranus you've ever fudging seen. Ooh, that's cool. But if you ask me what the best part about Uranus is, other than the fudge in Uranus, it's the fudging shirts. Fudge not, lest ye be fudged first. Fudge. Want to see more of Uranus? Come see the amazing attractions like the Moonicorn Creamery and Funnel Cakery. Fudge it great. Escape Uranus escape rooms. Fudgerific. Uranus Sideshow Museum. Hot fudge. Chicken Bones Party Bar and Grill. Fudge, yeah. So quit fudging around. How many more times do I need to say fudge to get you to order some fudge and fudge? Seriously, Uranus can't hold this fudge forever, so you might as well order some fudge today, for fudge sakes. Go to UranusGeneralStore.com and order your fudge today. Or come down here and drop some deuces yourself. Peace.
Welcome to Uranus!
Let's make Uranus great again. Fudge, yeah. Fudge. Fudge.
380.
Because I can tell you, nobody's calling me up from the CIA or General Jones and they're never telling me what to do. I mean, I'm literally doing whatever I want.
And that's not how it would work.
what we would do is we would use an organization like InfoWars, using you as an asset. Whether you know about it or not is completely irrelevant. If you have the clients that you have, your demographics fit a very a target-rich environment for IIA, right?
Because you guys track this back to some top generals.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so the IIA operations that we're seeing on Twitter and on social media right now, that has been tracked back to military generals, General Hayden, General Jim Jones. These are Obama, people that worked in the Obama administration, Alex. These people, they are planning to do an armed overthrow, a violent overthrow. They have their hands in this. It is insane. So an IIA operation and interactive internet activities operation, that is basically where you have these systems. You have a system called ShadowNet. Patrick Bergy, he was one of the pioneers. He developed this software for the military to be used in Iraq and Iran. Some of this technology, because these private corporations were able to keep it after the contracts were up, that same technology was used in the Ukraine to help with the Ukraine uprising.
And for folks that don't
now
know,
it's being used today.
For folks that don't know, if you just type into a search engine, Obama legalizes CIA propaganda in the United States, you'll get Foreign Affairs, all these articles. And so this is taxpayer money being used by stay-behind networks in the government, the bureaucracy, to engage in this and then mobilize the riots, the murder, the death, everything you see.
Oh, yeah, it's pretty bad, Alex. So basically, military weapons are being used on American citizens. The social media is in on it. These terrorist activities.
Well, that's why they're so arrogant, because Kushner knows all this. I mean, have you noticed that Tucker Carlson's come out against Kushner and is just totally, I mean, risking his job, everything to say that? Kushner works for the deep state and is literally sabotaging Trump.
Yeah, you have people within the deep state that are on the right-wing side of things. And right now they're trying to tell President Trump not to have a strong response. Oh, you don't want to be called a dictator, President Trump. You don't want to be seen as too harsh. They'll, the left will criticize him anyway. Today, hashtag President Dictator, Trump dictatorship is trending. So they don't care. They're going to use any way. They'll gaslight, they'll lie, they'll smear him. He needs to come down hard. He needs to declare the insurrection.
Yeah, you hear that? Interesting shit, huh? I know it's kind of a shocking comeback. Sitting there listening to that, and all of a sudden, you'll be okay. I guarantee you. You'll be all right. I like that song. It's called Taint. I'm sure if you don't know what a taint is, I won't go into it right now. I do it every show. It's like I have to educate people. Not Terry the Taint, but the taint period. It's just you thought there was nothing more funny than a cock and balls? Well, there is. It's called the taint. We'll get into that later. What an interesting night. We're talking about spy shit. We're talking about government. We're talking about taints and poop. Sounds like a typical off the hook fucking show, huh? All right, go ahead and bring him buddy Phil. All right. Hola. So I guess without no further ado, let's go ahead and bring Patrick on. Let's give him a go ahead and warm welcome. Patrick Bergy.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
All right. How's it going, man?
Doing great. Happy Saturday evening, and thank you very much for having me on. I appreciate it.
Sure. Happy early Father's Day. I'm not sure if you're a dad or not, but
oh yes, I have 4 kids.
Any grandkids yet?
No. A lot of dogs.
Shit. Oh shit. I just became a grandpa recently. So my firstborn son, Brandon, had my first grandchild, Sequoia.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You've got like 25 kids anyway, so it was about to happen.
Shut up. No, it's 7 kids. 7 kids. Just a few babies, mama. It's not a lot, Probably some overseas I don't know about. Probably a couple in Mexico, a couple in Japan. But anyways, that's just old news. Waiting for my door to get busted down any moment. What? Patrick Bergy, welcome to the Sanitarium. It's probably going to be a different kind of podcast that you're probably used to doing.
I don't know. When your friend told me about your show, I think she said that, kind of paraphrasing, but you had done something with like Bud Bundy when he was drunk and a lot of fart jokes. And I'm like, you had me at Bud Bundy, right?
Count me in. Count me in.
And my friend Kevin Holly, which I've done some shows with in the past, he's like basically fart jokes, so we'll get along just fine.
We got plenty of those.
There we go.
So yeah, we're gonna we're definitely gonna let it rip on that. But yeah, man, it's we've had some pretty cool people on the show over the years. This is our relatively our second and 2.5 third season. I don't know why I keep calling it seasons, but I just need to keep us doing the episodes and going forward. But but yeah,
I want to hear Patrick talk about himself.
Shut up! I'm talking. I'm in a moment.
I know. Well, but you sold yourself enough. I mean, you don't need to sell yourself.
I was just rolling back into him again.
We know Leatherface is the man. I want to hear about Mr. Bergy, the 40-year-old PFC.
Fucker. All right. You know, I lost my train of thought. So fuck you, Phil. All right,
So
Patrick.
sorry.
Back to you. All right, go.
Lo siento.
You got the pendejo. All right, fucking. You got the floor. Go ahead.
In fairness, I was private, right? Not the best, not the worst. I brought IT to the fight, not PT. Let's just put it that way. I enlisted at 39, turned 40 at basic training. And I didn't have degrees or anything when I went in to go in as an officer, but I did have certifications. I had been in IT for about a decade before that. I went in, ended up with my unit at JCSE, Joint Communication Support Element over at MacDill. There was a reserve unit because that's, the reserve, the Army Reserves were the only one that would take me. And basically I went in a couple months before and applied, but it was the age limit was like 35 at the time. They sent me an email back a couple months later and they're like, hey, hurry on in. We've lowered our standards. And, you've got till you turn 40 to be able to go, and they'd race 39. And I was just a couple months away from turning 40. So literally within like a week or so, I was on a bus, kissed my wife goodbye. We had 2 kids. Yeah, no, she wasn't pregnant. We didn't have the twins till after that. Yeah, I came back from basic training in pretty good shape. And we ended up with twins, like probably, I suppose, about 9-10 months later, my boys. And so then I did a deployment with them over in Afghanistan with JCSE, completed my required time of service because most of my time in service was active duty. So that gives you actually more time towards your stuff. And I needed a job after I got out of after my reserve requirements were done. I needed a job. I had a top secret clearance, took a contract over in Iraq with a company called Dynology, where I provided support for the 4th Psychological Operations Group from basically October 2007 to around the same time, 2008. What we were doing is helping, and this is, I'm not telling you anything classified. You can pull these up for you. These are contracts that were out. We were providing, support for something new that had just started. It was called IIA, Interactive Internet Activities. And basically, the internet was just starting to take off. The iPhone had just been released that time around 2007. The military was trying to figure out what kind of a threat this could be, what kind of a weapon it could be, obviously. And so that was, to my knowledge, we were one of the first contracts that were deployed out, certainly under the IIA, under an IIA contract. It actually had another name before that. What was it? It was in 2005. Lincoln Group had the contract then, which kind of ties into my story, right? Because even at the time, I believe Paul Manafort and a company that Roger Stone was involved in was subcontracting on that. I can't remember the name of that contract, though. It's going to kill me. I actually know the guy that wrote the policy for that. Yeah. Same guy that wrote one of the guys that wrote the policies for IIA, Interactive Internet Activities. They had gotten shut down in 2005. A whistleblower came out and exposed the people on the contract for using DoD funds to disseminate fabricated information to journalists, I believe foreign journalists in the region. And that came out, and they're like, oh my God, we can't be doing that. And so they basically shut that $200 million contract down, redid it as under the IIA nomenclature. And that's kind of where I picked up. And I worked on IIA programs from about 2007 to 2010. 2010, I was with another company called Leone. That actually comes into play with Shadowgate as well. And so around 2010, I left the IIA type of environment contracts that I was working on and went into content management, knowledge management on a contract in South Korea. I was there for about 5 years. That ended when I filed a formal complaint of fraud, waste, and abuse. That was in 2015. And right after I filed that fraud, waste, and abuse complaint, I was hit with the program manager and the company modified the requirements for the contract that I had been on for 5 years. No complaints whatsoever. Modified the contract, removing only my requirements. Again, this was the day after I had filed a protected disclosure of fraud, waste, and abuse. And they modified the contract, removed my position, and then a couple days after I was removed and gone, they changed contract back and replaced me. It's like, wow, can you do that? Yeah, they can. You know, and that was my awakening, if we will, to the just abject corruption within the whistleblower system, within the within our the Inspector General's office, you know, and I'd been basically fighting that. And the more I tried to fight it, the deeper I ended up getting. The more I tried to fight it, the more I started to see how, you know, the Congress, on both sides, left and right, were just bought and paid for by the military industrial complex, my former colleagues, right? I worked for a company called Dynology. Dynology was a small family-owned company owned by General James Jones. I'm his national security advisor. He was a former NATO Supreme Allied Commander, the SACEUR, the Supreme Allied Commander of Europe. This man has a lot of power and influence, right? Think about it. The NATO commander. NATO and Russia, do they get along very well? No. Well, you know, General Jones owns another company called Jones Group International, which is one of the largest Saudi energy lobbies, you know, or energy oil lobbies in D.C. All right, so Obama's national security advisor, these people with all these power and influence, are basically the reason that, in my opinion, and what I'm trying to be able to bring to Congress and expose are the connections that bring us right into the war in Ukraine, right? Go to a company called clearforce.com. Very simple, right? Oh, he's talking conspiracies. No, every single thing that I'm saying tonight, you can verify. My background, I don't have any time machines, nothing like that, right? You can go to my Facebook and see my posts and shit going back to then. You can see I am who I am. I'm not Pat Tillman. I'm Pat Bergy, right? Kind of like a jacked up, broke dick PFC. And I'm okay with that. I'm proud of my service. And it was a tremendous experience, right? But I was away from my family for almost 8 years overseas, whether in uniform and as a contractor, right? And I come back, you know, and I'm trying to expose this stuff. I'm reaching out to journalists like Sarah Carter, Judge Pirro, and they're throwing me under the freaking bus. And then I start seeing all of Jones's connections, like former the vice president for Jones Group International. She's one of the chief White House correspondents for Fox News, right? Jillian Turner. So everywhere I go, I'm, coincident, just like running into these corrupt pieces of shit that, and then I'll have these people that like will attack me with lies and all this crap, because what am I doing? I'm exposing social media psychological warfare, right? I'm exposing the weaponization by our government, but more specifically the military industrial complex, and their partners with Facebook and Twitter, right? Twitter in Shadowgate, which came out 2 months before the election. You'll see how I was showing how my former boss, General Jones, was the chairman of the board of Atlantic Council at the same time that Atlantic Council partnered with Facebook to restore election integrity worldwide, right? And to combat fake news. I'm looking at this going, really? The guy I built the ShadowNet for is the best person that Facebook could find to combat fake news, right? Because the ShadowNet was basically designed, or could be used, to as basically a project management tool for social media psychological operations. Hey, Iceberg, for all of these different things, right? And so, I'm a whistleblower. I do these podcasts and stuff not because I have any desire to do them. And as soon as I can be able to, I have one thing that I want to be able to do. I want to be able to testify and tell my story before Congress, for the Weaponization Committee in Congress, right? But that's a problem too. Jordan is one of the people that's in charge of that committee, right? Millie Weaver, the producer of Shadowgate. That's not my dog. My puppy's sleeping like a good. If you hear it, you have a problem though. Millie Weaver worked for InfoWars, right? You would think Trump would have heard about her arrest. She live streamed her arrest, going, "Hey, oh my God, I'm uploading a documentary exposing Obama's national security advisor, by the way, who was Obama Biden's administration, exposing election influence, and Trump's president. Trump doesn't do anything." I'm attacked by InfoWars, right? Because my story ties in. My story kind of points towards Paul Manafort as being involved in election influence in the 2008 McCain primary, where I actually had the opportunity to speak to Rudy Giuliani, hung out with him. He watched like 20, 30 minutes of Shadowgate. And at the end, I was like, hey, how do you feel about this, right? He ran in the primary, in the Republican primary in 2008 against John McCain. And I told him, how did you feel about that? You almost certainly lost, at the very least, because John McCain and Paul Manafort used morally and ethically bankrupt, taxpayer-funded social media psychological warfare tools for a competitive advantage in their election, right? And he was like, wow, that sucks. Man, I thought, he was going to help. But then he's silenced, right? And I find all of the people that I've gone to since Millie's arrest, since I was on InfoWars, and Alex Jones is like, well, we're never going to talk about this again. Mr. Freaking Conspiracy Theory, right? Has a guy sitting on his stage as his employee of 8 years is being arrested, or was just arrested. And he's saying, listen, right? This is happening. And everything I was saying turns out to be completely right. Millie and Gab, all the charges are dropped on her. So anything anybody said about her, this being a setup or something, I don't know exactly how that would have happened, right? Maybe it did. I don't know. But she was uploading the documentary that of my claims as a DOD, verifiable DOD whistleblower. She's arrested. An American journalist, a mother, they arrested her husband and her brother, right? And it was all buried. And then Millie, myself, this woman, Tori Morris, who was already also in the Shadowgate thing, but to the best of my knowledge, was just had set this up from the beginning to just discredit anything that I was trying to expose. So, kind of a poison pill, I think they would call it in that. Again, very close relationships to Roger Stone and these other people. In fact, she did an interview with Stone 2 days after. 2 days after Millie reached out to me, and about a day or two before before the events that led to Millie's indictment, the sealed indictment, the event that day. So, but I'm drifting, I'm kind of jumping around here, but that is in a nutshell where I'm at. That's like a super elevator version.
Well, I kind of checked out the indictment for Millie Weaver, and it seems you can always tell when something bogus is laid in place to block something else from happening. It's like I don't know her well, but it's seeing what family they all come from. The indictment was for burglary. Something about her mom, something to do with the $50 taken for a cell phone or some kind of shit like that. And her mom had a Karen moment. But it seems too convenient to jump on that and hex it out and shelf it. I mean, did Shadowgate ever come out at all, or was it ever released?
It was released as she was being arrested. She yelled she was uploading it both to InfoWars and to Tory. Alex Jones hadn't seen it. He funded it, she was his employee, and she put this documentary together. He fired her almost immediately after. I don't even think she was out of jail yet, and he had fired her. He had left, according to Millie, in a voicemail that he had been told to fire her by Roger Stone, right? Because apparently Roger Stone got butthurt about something I said in there instead of actually talking to me, instead of actually challenging maybe something I said or they said, right? He's just like, fire everybody, shut this the fuck up, right? And nobody ever talk about it again. Oh, and put that guy Bergy on a burn list. Nobody fucking do anything with him. And but we ended up in DC from November of Millie was there. Millie and those guys got there like right after like November 4th or something. I ended up getting there around November 15th of 2020. And we were right there with Patrick Byrne, with General Flynn, right? With Sidney Powell. We were right there I was right there meeting with all of these people that could have taken the signed sworn affidavit that I had right in front of them, that I had provided to them, that I had just 10 months earlier submitted as a Ketam whistleblower lawsuit in DC federal court, which, by the way, was dismissed without prejudice because it had merit, but they wouldn't let me go forward without having an attorney, something that I can't afford unless I can be able to, get help, right? So that's where we are with that. I'll get going forever.
Yeah. Sounds like a real shitstorm, but I mean, it gave you content to write a book. I mean, I know the Shadowgate. I don't know if most of you are. I was born in '75, but we all had a Nintendo game called Shadowgate. You remember that, Phil?
Yeah, vaguely.
Yeah, I remember this. I don't know what grade I was in, but Shadowgate back then was a little strategic game. There was a game called Myst that was released that kind of reminded me of it. But you go into this, shut up. You go to multiple dungeons, and certain little things do certain things. It's almost like Dragon's Lair, but you're not seeing the character. You're going the third person. But you go
like
through and you have
game too.
Yeah. Actually, it is.
Shadowgate was named after ShadowNet. ShadowNet was not the classified name of what we worked on, but what we named the commercial version of it when we brought it back to the U.S. Retained the hi Goldie, retained the intellectual property rights for what we developed on a taxpayer-funded contract for the Force Psychological Operations Group with the Chapodif over in Baghdad, Camp Victory. And we brought it back to the States and sold it commercially to the highest bidder, right? the capability, whether it was for law enforcement. But I do know, I found out later on, I did not know this at the time. Almost all the time that I had spent, except for 1 year that I was with at MacDill with supporting a contract with the JMISC, the Joint Miscellaneous over at MacDill. With the exception of that 1 year, my 8 years with Dynology was overseas, right? So I was never really involved with any of the corporate stuff, and I always tried to stay off the radar. But I answered most of that time. I answered directly to Jim Jones, General Jones's son, and again, these are people you want. Okay, we'll give Hunter shit, and we'll acknowledge he has a healthy shit too. But can we stop and take a moment and maybe look at some of these other people, like Obama's national security advisor, like the NATO Supreme Allied Commander, who is whose families are profiting from selling weapons? Okay, maybe. Or we could look at the Clear Force site. We can go there and we can look and see that was like founded by General Jones and General Hayden, the CIA director. What does Clear Force do? Well, Clear Force builds predictive behavioral models like Minority Report, right? Where they scrape your social media, they scrape your personal and business and corporate emails. They tell you both in and out of the workplace. They tell you that in their site. They brag about it. They take all this information. They take your financial, your medical, all of these things. Look at the people on the board of directors, clearforce.com. Go to the about section. Right, you'll see the founders of the two of the big three credit reporting agencies, Equifax and the other one. You'll see all of these people as the board of advisors of the board of directors, and this company owned by the CIA director, Obama's CIA director, and his national security advisor, the NATO commander, is determining not only who gets a job, not only who keeps a clearance and gets a clearance in the U.S., because what Clear Force was built to do was to provide NISPOM compliance for people who have clearances, right? Which, by the way, Jones and Hayden both had a hand in making that NISPOM requirement, and now they're getting $1,500 a month, as I hear, for licensing to meet that compliance for anybody who has clearance. But think about it. They can control the algorithms to determine anything they want, right? Who has control over that? It's a completely automated process. And by the way, it's not just for clearances. If you go to their website, you'll see every major mainstream news organization, CNN, Fox News, AP, you name it, right? The only one I don't think I saw on there was like MSNBC, but they're probably somewhere on there. And all of these companies boast their HR using Clear Force, which means national security advisor. God bless you. Obama's national security advisor is determining who gets job and loses a job. Oh, and the CIA director determines who gets job and loses a job throughout all of mainstream media, which they explain why everything seems like it's all one-sided. Couldn't be the Mockingbird media people talked about, would it?
Operation Mockingbird, 2023. Yeah.
Mockingbird out of the government control and brought it into the military-industrial complex. Couldn't be that.
I'll tell you what, man. You have some balls. I'm going to tell you that right now. You have some balls.
I'm a fucking problem.
And I'll tell you where I got the hypothesis from. I played that InfoWars video earlier. This one right here. I'll play just a couple seconds of it.
380. Because I can tell you, nobody's calling me up from the CIA or General Jones and they're never telling me what to do. I mean, I'm literally doing whatever I want.
And that's not how it would work. What we would do is we would use an organization like InfoWars using you as an asset. Whether you know about it or not is...
See, you fucking... you just fucking put your gigantic... like Incredible Hulk cock, big green cock on the table. You just fucking call him an asset right to his face. He's like, you say, you know what? We'll use you like a cheap whore, like a cheap whore, a man whore.
I was sitting there in the studio, which is in the middle of the military-industrial complex in Austin, in Austin. I mean, all the buildings around it were military contractors, and even their building, you could look at when I looked at their building, I was a signal support guy, right? I'm looking at the comms on every one of these buildings going, these are military grade. So you tell me if I was wrong. I walked into his studio and I'm like, Jesus, looks just like the I recognize this place.
Well, he said live from the military fucking complex. I mean, he wasn't lying. I mean,
no,
he's pretty geared up over there. You know, I've seen some video and some setup, and you'd need a nice little arsenal to get into his area if he didn't want you in there.
I'm too dumb for my own good, right? If I knew then what I did now, there's no way I would fucking walked in there. I probably wouldn't done any of this, right? It's just holy shit, right? Who would have called that? Who would have thought that I get contact? These people reached out to me. I didn't reach out to them. They saw that I had filed my key tam, and I was contacted by Millie through Tori. Millie worked with InfoWars 8 years. I was sitting there in across from the studio, not even wanting to be on the set. The deal was all I wanted was to have to be able to have a conversation with Alex Jones privately and be able to look him in the eye, right? Because you can't freaking tell if people are lying until you actually sit there and look them in the eye. Or at least you have a better opportunity with that. There's our Gen X rubbing off, right?
Yeah.
And so, look what I got for that. I thought, well, this guy, I even said, everybody else has screwed me over. Maybe ironically, the one place I thought I couldn't trust is the place I could trust. And guess what? I got fucked. Oh, I guess I was right, But he has tens and tens of thousands of followers that say that they support the veterans, right? Fucking not this one. Threw this one under the bus. They buried him for a bunch of fucking InfoWars boner pills. And I spent 8 years of my life overseas. I made some major fucking sacrifices. Like I said, I was PFC Bergy, not PFC, not Patrick Tillman, right? So am I not, can someone at least, am I wrong in saying, what the fuck? Am I wrong in being a little pissed off? Am I wrong? And I'm not the most artful person. I shouldn't be here doing this. If I'm here doing this, our entire system has fucking failed, man. It really has, right? But I'm like, clearly somebody who is a patriot. I enlisted at 39. I had a family and stuff. If I felt it in my heart, right? And I survived basic training. Like 98% of the guys that I went in that were 35 to 39 did not make it. I can think of like 2 other guys that were in that range that made it through. The rest of them crapped out. And I don't know how I made it through. Met bare minimum requirements on the run, on the push-ups, on everything. Like I said, fucking bare minimum on everything, but I made it. Fuck you, I made it, right? So,
all right, here. Hey, we're at that point. We gotta go to commercial and get back later at the round table. I just play this song and Phil's like, "What the fuck?"
You seem to like balls and ass. We haven't talked about shit yet, though.
We're getting there. We're getting there. After this little commercial, we're going to get back with the round table, and we're going to talk about not only the new South Park character suggestion, but an incredible, weird thing that Hunter Biden's doing.
Now let's have some more fudge.
Shake and bake. Fudge, yeah!
Fudge.
Yeah. Well, do you have the stuff or not? What do you mean you don't have it? Freaking deal! Where am I supposed to get it at? Fine. Well, then you do your thing! ordered you a fudge.
What kind do you want?
Yeah. There's no need. Someone else is packing my fudge now.
Stoicky ain't never felt affection, but his dirty little butthole got a bad infection. We got a connection, but his dick so small I can't tell if he has an erection. Dirty little stink.
What's up, Mofos? Be back. How'd you like that commercial? Pretty fucking awesome, huh? Why? Roxborough, North Carolina. I guess this is a little church town, and I'm telling you, if they really knew that this show was running here in their backyard, this is the Bible Belt. I mean, I'm all about the Lord too. Don't get me wrong. I might not look like it, but I mean, they might come lynch me one day and be like, "We ain't bringing that bullshit here, not here in this town." So I'm just waiting for it now. So yeah, welcome back to the Sanitarium. I'm just talking shit because that's what I do. This is the second. Oh shit, we're on overtime now. It's 9:50. We're a few minutes over. Such an awesome guest tonight. I mean, we're just hearing all sorts of shit, but we're about to get to the main event here. But this is the time where I introduce the round table. Here, this is better. The round table. Relief. This is right now. It's the round table. We bring on our guest and we all just talk it out. So let me go ahead and start introducing motherfuckers. Are y'all ready? All right, let me go ahead and bring up some music here. All right, gear it up. All right. Actually, the round table is sponsored by Paul Dale Roberts. Next we have Bill. Next we have my BFFF, best fucking friend, fucking forever, Ron. We have my other BFFFFFFF friend for life. We have the Executioner.
What's up, X?
Next, we have Terry the Tank. I mentioned taint earlier. We're going to have a little discussion about a taint here in a second. Oh,
hey, I have a very nice taint.
Where the fuck is... We're missing a couple people. Oh, here we go. Let's bring the music back. Now we have the big dick rock star, Tristan Purple Sticky. Wait. Where the fuck he go? He's gone. There he is. All right, here, let's try this again. Purple Sticky himself.
But we lost Terry.
What the fuck? And we lost the taint.
And where's Mr. Bergy?
Oh, he's right here. Mr. Bergy.
There we go.
Now, all you motherfuckers calling in here and not fucking getting you a good connection going. All right, here's the rock star himself.
I'm going. It's going to shoot me off.
It's the deep state. It's after Purple Sticky.
Deep state got Purple Sticky. Oh, yeah.
They got rid of that tank guy, too.
No, Terry's gone, too?
Man.
Oh, jeez. But yeah, welcome to the show. Patrick Bergy. This is the round table. We're missing a couple people. But my closest and best friends are all here. We got Mr. Ron down here in the corner. Longtime friend. We have the Executioner, my very first wrestling partner. No, I was a pro wrestler at one time, so that's my tag team partner. We got Paul Dale Roberts, author, HPI, paranormal investigator, bad motherfucker. We have
Disco
fucking
champion.
Phil, aka El Guapto. Yeah, Paul Roberts holds the Guinness World Record for the longest disco dance. He did a bunch of crack and coke and danced the disco thing for like a week.
That was the 70s. That was before crack. That was just coke, the good stuff.
That was some Colombian Bam Bam.
Booger sugar.
Yee-haw! That was some good uncut shit back then. What do you think, Paul?
Hey,
for yourself.
Did you guys get that information about my uncle who used to wrestle with Pepper Gomez?
I knew about that prior. I saw your link, but I already knew about it. So being a dickhead stoner, I didn't read it, but I already know what you're talking about. We showed pictures on the show before. I just didn't.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. All right. Okay.
Hey, the old man memory.
Your guest was wonderful. I mean, that was some good information.
Yeah, he's pretty awesome, man. He's killing it. Him and Tony Schaefer back to back, man. That would be a dream team right there.
I met Tony once up in DC. He was that whole thing was just like really weird. I wasn't really much involved with it. I basically just hung out downstairs, smoked cigarettes and weed, and just kind of documented everything for my book. People going by. But no, he was he was one of the people that was involved there. I never had a chance to speak to him like one-on-one, but it was in another meeting with I think that former attorney general that had gotten fired for something. I can't remember his name, but we were in a meeting with them. So never had a chance. I think Tori was constantly giving him shit though. Like she was in on everybody's stuff there. That was kind of weird. But Phil Waldron also never got a chance to speak to Phil. But Phil, according to Millie and Gavin, had came up to them the night before I arrived in DC, and told them that he was like one of their biggest fans of Shadowgate, and he had told them that he knew me because he had came in as I think the program manager, or maybe even like the chief of the IA project in either, I can't remember if it was in with the Japotif in Iraq or if it was with IOTF, the Information Operations Task Force in Afghanistan. One of the two. When I left that contract, apparently Phil Waldron had came in as the with the new team that came in. So that's one of the issues I have with Phil Waldron, right? Like, could they, you're running an election integrity thing, right? And you want everybody to trust you. So the first choice, again, like Facebook and General Jones, the guy I made the Shadownet for, right? The one person they put in charge of the election integrity thing was the guy who was like an IIA chief. Psychological warfare, psyops, really? You couldn't find someone that, ran a freaking Starbucks or something?
Well, here's the real juicy question that came on the screen. Check this out. Who is in control? Humans or aliens?
I'm rooting for the tall blonde Pleiadians, but I haven't met one yet.
Not yet.
I'm supposed to take over and.
They're supposed to be see the tall Pleiadians walking around Vegas, really tall blonde peoples. But with the right dollar, you can get anything you want in Vegas. So who is in control? What do you think, Patrick? Aliens or humans?
Military-industrial complex. Go to the about section of everything I just told you. Go to the about section of Clear Force and tell me that they aren't the ones in control, because they control who get the jobs in all of mainstream media. They control who gets clearance and who loses a clearance throughout all our government. And the former NATO commander, he doesn't have a Rolodex that he can use. All of the stuff, all the people that were involved in like the Russia collusion, right? Those were all my former colleagues. And I was saying that's included in my key tam. I think it was like 6 people that were involved in Trump's impeachment, right? And I'll sit here. I'm giving Trump because he knew. Why didn't he do anything about the arrest of Millie Weaver? Why didn't he help me out when I, as a whistleblower exposing election influence, using social media, psychological warfare, using the partnerships between like Facebook. That partnership between Facebook and Atlanta Council was a partnership that was what was the people that were blocking and censoring everything that Trump was saying on social media. Tell me that didn't have an impact on the election, where everything that he says is labeled as fake news by my former boss, and that was in Shadowgate, right? So yes,
What tell you what, buddy, I don't think the fraud is going to happen this time around, because we're on to it this time. So we're not going to see Bill Clinton going. We're not going to see none of that. It's done. It's done.
Were you on active duty or were you a contractor? Where'd he go? Don't tell me we lost him already.
Oh no!
Come on, I had a question for the guy.
Here he is. I was expecting that. I'm like, oh, we're already being censored. Here we go.
There he is.
Shit got crazy after the Anthony Schaefer show.
Yeah.
I started getting all sorts of internet glitches and internet not working and Piedmont going down.
Hey,
it was
can all
interesting.
just be, these can. I was an IT guy for like 20 years.
Am I back in? There I go.
Were you on active duty or were you a contractor when you blew the whistle?
When I blew the whistle, I was a contractor. That was in 2015.
The waste fraud and abuse, or fraud, waste, and abuse. I forget which order those go in. From the military, I know there's a certain process you have to do it, but as a contractor, how exactly did you? How did that work?
In 2013, at least as I read it on the website, on the Inspector General's website, 2013, post Snowden, they modified the rules, and contractors were now protected under the Whistleblower Protection Act. What they didn't say, they should have put a little asterisk in front of that on the freaking IG website, because what they didn't say is that if your contract began before they modified that in 2013, which mine began in 2010, and there was no significant modification. What's significant modification? I would argue removing my job was a significant modification to me. But okay, if there was no significant modification, then we didn't fall under whistleblower protection, right? So I trusted what the government had on their website. I was threatened with my job if I didn't give a GS 13 or 14, a deputy, the J3 deputy, if I didn't give that guy administrative access to a classified network, which he didn't have the documentation for, the authorization for, nothing. If I didn't give him access to that, I was going to be fired. I refused to. He said it so loud, my partner could hear a couple stations down. We both filed a complaint. He withdrew his. I ended up losing my job, right? So, again, you can kind of see that I'm a patriot. You can see, like, I'm not the best. I'm not like the Tom Cruise running out there sliding down buildings or nothing. But I did my best. I'm just this. It's like when you see stuff like this, and you are a patriot, and you're not doing this because of the money, although the money's important. You got to feed your family. You're doing this because you swore an oath. I had a top secret clearance. I was there on a contract for the U.S. government, although I was working for a company called Dynology. In my mind, I was there filling a role that taxpayers paid for, right, to protect national security, and it not protect the contract, protect national security. And they get upset because we're upsetting the client being the government. But who's the government? Oh, Hillary Clinton and all these people, right? So that's why my book ended up turning into what it was, Victim of the Swamp, my first book in 2017. And that was just it started out as me telling a story to my kids, explaining why I was away through their childhood, right? Overseas, trying to anyway, right? Coming back into their lives and all these things. I thought, wow, let's write it in the book. And then all the stuff started exploding with Hillary Clinton and these things. And I start looking at what she was doing, and I'm like, well, that's the same thing that they were doing over there. right? And guaranteed there was some KMO or ISO, knowledge management officer, information assurance security officer like me that was assigned to Hillary Clinton that was saying, no, ma'am, you can't do that. And some program manager going, fucking take care of the client or you're gone, right? And that's how our system works. That's why our system's so broken. But that's why national security is so fucked up. That's why you got classified documents sitting on the, in Biden's basement, in Biden's garage. That's why you got classified documents sitting at Mar-a-Lago. I don't think anybody should be having classified documents outside of a fucking skiff, because that's how you keep stuff safe, right? And accountable for it's national security. So,
without disclosing any secret or top secret information, can you give us some examples? Like I said, without disclosing anything, but some examples of the type of information.
Oh no, fuck that. We want to hear.
I want to know, like Snowden saw videos, of people getting killed and things like that. So I mean, were these videos? Were they just top secret documents? I know everything's given on a need to know basis, even at the top secret level. But like I said, without disclosing anything, what kind of information are we talking about that you've seen?
Top secret, please. AKA request Goldie Moore. Top secret, please. Top secret stuff.
What I do say, which is completely legal, is I show what we did when we made it commercially available. Look at the ShadowNet flyer, right? And what was that? That was a team of people using non-attribution, anonymity and non-attribution to interactively act on the internet, interactive internet activities. You engage with targets. You can be anyone that you want to be. You can look like you're coming from anywhere. There's no way that anybody can tell the difference. I could look like I was sending an email from the Kremlin if I wanted to, and I would argue probably nobody could ever tell, right? Maybe a couple of years. Think about it. No one ever really knows. No one ever figured out who did the Sony hack, right? And you had like every FBI agent in the country trying to figure that out. So they have ways of doing things to where you can either create like false flags and make it look like somebody else. I could make it look like Russia did it. I could make it look like these things. But certainly if it's the person that they're telling you, like when they came out 3 days after the Russian dossier or whatever, and they came out at like 3 days later and said, this was Russian disinformation. And I'm like, no, you couldn't tell for sure, right? There's no way, because guys like me, because they hired people like me these capabilities, and they come out and we know who.
Mute yourself, Face. Come on, man.
That's not me this time.
He's getting
All right, hold on.
Jesus.
This is the right time. Here we go, guys.
Oh, yeah, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for the purple sticky smoke break. Woo.
All right, make sure we got everybody on. Everybody on. Terry the Taint. We on.
I'm here.
So this is where we smoke whatever we have on board.
I ain't got no smokage, but I got some drinkage.
Oh, just pretend.
Oh.
Oh, shit. It's a nice, excellent. Oh, we're in North Carolina, so excellent CBD. Oh,
I show all the time, but I've got nothing rolled.
Oh God. Oh,
all right, you got the lava lamp going.
Horrible gas.
Oh, no.
Should have brought it.
Oh, that hurt.
Hold the pass.
Purple Sticky got it.
Oh shit.
You all right?
Oh, I'm joking.
Yeah, it kind of hurt.
Yo, what's up
Purple
with the technical
Sticky.
difficulties? I keep missing all these shows.
I don't know, man. It's been something going on here. I think it might be my Piedmont internet, but yeah, Purple Sticky is returning here to the Off the Hook Network as of next Saturday. We will have Purple Sticky on.
It's nice skateboarding.
Oh yeah.
And also next Saturday, I'll go ahead and run this little spot here. We have a special guest, Corin Nemec. from Mr. Parker Lewis Can't Lose and Stargate SG-1. Here's a little clip.
Stargate activated. Going through the Stargate, hoping to land on LV-426 to see some old family. Let's go. Where am I?
Still hungry.
This Monday on the Sanitarium with Leatherface, it's special guest Corin Nemec from Stargate SG-1, aka Mr. Parker Lewis Can't Lose.
Woo!
Oh, great clip.
Thank you. But it said Monday, but it's actually, we used to run on Monday. This is an old spot. Corner was going to be on the very first season, but we had some really bad storms and we lost connection and couldn't do it. But this is actually a return show, so I just used the old promo video that we had. We used to be Monday nights at 9 p.m., but fucking people are working and it's the beginning of the week and everything sucks. So no one was really catching on too much for the Mondays. So we moved here to Saturday nights. I used to be at midnight, but I'm getting too old and staying up past 9's a motherfucker.
Hey, I wanted to ask Mr. Bergy one more question before we completely bore him to death or smoke him out. Is did you ever feel physically threatened after you blew the whistle? I mean, like cars outside the house, any type of innuendos, threat to your life or to your family?
No. I mean, I have, I spent nearly 2 years in Iraq and Afghanistan, and I've got PTSD, right? So, I'm like, I don't walk anywhere without looking for wires and Coke cans so I'm always, I've never seen anything like that, right? I've been targeted, absolutely, and attacked. I'm on a burn notice, but it's spelled Byrne, Patrick Byrne. He's pissed. He's pissed at me. We smoked some weed up on the 7th floor of the Trump International, and Millie helped him write his speech. But he went just batshit crazy, right? He sends me a letter because I asked him if he would write something for my book, right? So he's like, sure. And he sends me a response back to the questions that I gave him, and he adds all sorts of shit to it. And he tells me about like Tori and how his investigators investigated her for like 3 hours, found she couldn't be trusted with anything and all, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, holy shit, that's great, because he can help me, right? Because I'm kind of like stuck in this situation. But then he turned around and starts promoting her and pushing her on all of these things with this stuff that is now completely ended up just destroying anybody who touched it. And so when Patrick Byrne did that, I realized that he was not a person of honor, right? And I called him out on it. I'm like, listen, why do you write me something like this, telling me that this person cannot be trusted for anything, and then you're up there promoting this person to all these people who are trusting them, right? There's something wrong with that math. And I called that out, and from that point, I was just attacked by, big surprise, social media, cyber, tactical, coordinated attacks with fake personas. Exactly what I was exposing in Shadowgate, right? I just didn't realize it was people that had said that they were there to help me, that they were the ones that were going to turn around and turn on me. Didn't see that one coming.
Oh, it is.
And I'm only a right?
All right, let's go ahead and switch it up a little bit. Sure. Ron Termel, my buddy. You got any questions?
Yeah, well, I had one question I'd like to ask. From what I've gathered here that you've told us, it seems like this whole whistleblower a program that was supposed to be for the betterment of the nation is nothing but a fraudulent scam. Have you found other whistleblowers that have gone through the same kind of experiences or experiences like what you've gone through, sir?
Absolutely, right? Now, I can't speak to their claims, right? I can only speak to the stuff that I know, I swear to, I saw, witnessed. But I also know that there are a lot of other people out there that are saying very similar things to me, that what I've said, to the point where, wow, they've experienced, in my opinion, they experienced this. So, and that's both within like the MAGA movement, the people that were coordinating the stuff in DC, and within our government, with the Inspector General's office, with the Department of Justice. We'll get into the hunter's poop, but what's that from? That was, I've been engaged with the Attorney General for National Security, who's the person that was investigating the Hunter Biden laptop thing, right? That's where I got the poop from. So, I mean, all these people, I sent a certified letter to them showing all the people, I was at Rudy's home in New York, when I got one of the copies. One of the other copies, though, I got from Tori, and Tori told me that she'd gotten it, that the copy that she had given me, although I thought she was bullshit at the time, later on I had heard Lev Parnas tell the story, and I'm like, oh shit, that maybe she wasn't kidding, because she told me that the copy I gotten from her a month before we went to Rudy's was the one Lev Parnas was looking for, that was, according to Hunter, stolen by a couple Russian hookers. And when they drugged him, wow, who could have saw him getting set up for that one? I can't believe it, right?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
That's great.
Russian hookers and blow. He fell for it. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, it must have been.
He actually talked. He's in a video, right, where he actually talks about it. You know how he records everything? I've heard the video from his laptop. I believe that video, though, was from the laptop that was obtained and disseminated by the Mac guy, the blind guy, right? So I believe there are actually two different laptops. I believe law enforcement believes that. I know that Abby Lowell's people believe that. Abby Lowell is the attorney for Hunter Biden. I believe that the Attorney General for National Security. I believe that what's his face? The Dorothy chick, his grandson, the Attorney General, right? I believe. Well, when I sent that letter to the Attorney General, right? When I sent that letter to the Attorney General, he didn't call me back. They've never fucking called me back. They called Hunter Biden's attorney, and according to Hunter Biden's attorney, he was called directly by Garland himself. So Garland's never called the whistleblower. What he did was he called Hunter Biden and said, "Hey, this guy's got shit on you. He's, really?
Literally, yeah.
Oh, there's nothing wrong with our system here at all, right?" So, someone please explain that to me.
Hey, Patrick, I want to ask you something. When I was in the service, from 73, 76, 79 to 86. When I got into military intelligence, I was a 97 Bravo. I had a top secret SBI clearance, which is SBI is special.
Sure, you had the polygraph.
Special background investigation. Is that what you had?
No, I had the highest I had achieved was SCI. I believe SBI had the polygraph, correct?
Yes.
So that would have been the next one up I would have had.
Oh, okay.
I was TSSCI.
And I've been in the military, and I've seen some shit. So
Scheiße. We're about to see some shit in a minute. We're about to see some shit.
And I'm a journalist, so I put that information out there so people are aware of things that were going behind people's back and all kinds of stuff. So
a lot of the journalists, and this is what that journalists should be outraged by this. Michael Hastings, if you're familiar with him, he had it spot on. there are things that I cannot say. There are reasons that I know some of these things. I don't want to sit here and say, but that's only a small part. I can certainly sit here and provide you so much information, documented evidence, emails, whatever you want, right? I don't need that, but there's reasons that I know the things that I know. And look at all of these journalists surrounding General Flynn, right? Our IIA program supported Flynn and McChrystal. And look at what Flynn and McChrystal are doing. They're just basically running IIA operations. They're controlling the journalists around them. They're using them as assets. Sarah Carter, Laura Logan. This is my opinion. But it's my opinion with a resume, not a time machine, a resume, right? I've engaged with Laura Logan. She called Millie Weaver, myself. We had a conference call maybe a week or so after Millie had been arrested and released from jail.
Speaking of time travel,
and check this out. This is this is gonna blow your mind, right? So Laura Logan calls me up, but she's also on the phone with her husband, right? And I didn't know who her husband was, and come to find out, her husband. And they were like so nice to Millie and sympathetic. Oh my God, I can't believe you went through all this. And then they got to me and they're like, "Why are you doing this? Who are you doing this for?" And I was like, whoa, I'm just a fucking whistleblower, right? But then after that, like, interrogation that I went through, which, by the way, her and her husband tried to get Millie Gavin and I to go into a classified skiff on Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, which I told her to fucking pound sand. I'm not going and meeting anybody. Patterson. I don't care how nice of boobies you got. Her husband works for the same fucking people I was exposing. Her husband worked for Lincoln Group. I believe her husband worked for Leone. That's the other company that I worked for when I was in with the IOTF, working the contract for Leone. So what kind of journalist, as a journalist, Paul, what kind of journalist interviews a subject who came to them, a whistleblower, and doesn't disclose that her husband, who's on the phone with them, works for the company, works for the fucking people you're exposing.
Exactly.
So get it. She's got a nice rack. Why don't you look at her fucking history? Why don't you look at what she was doing for work over in Afghanistan, in Iraq? And why don't you look at all the fucking people that died over there in Iraq and Afghanistan because of the bullshit that was put out by propagandists, in my opinion, again, like Laura Logan, Sarah Carter, who heard my story. I've got the messages. It was getting ready. She was pushing my story out onto Fox. They were going to do it in multiple segments. And then boom, nothing. I wonder if that's because Jillian Turner, vice president of Jones Group International, is her colleague.
Yeah.
It's not rocket science. It's fucking Mockingbird media. I'm calling these pieces of shit out, and I'm literally exposing their shit. Agreed?
Yeah, you're doing a good job of it.
We got you, Patrick.
You're laying it down. We're going to do a quick break, and we'll be back with the South Park character reveal and the Shiza.
Levántate la alma por el cielo. What? Levántate la alma por el cielo.
The fuck's that mean?
Levántate la alma por el cielo.
Speak English, cunt.
Levántate la alma por el cielo.
I work a 9 to 5 to stay alive, you see. I couldn't land a good job, so it was Taco B-L-L. What the hell, I hate this place, it smells. Here comes the gringo. Welcome to Taco Bell.
Yeah, can I get 2 crunchy tacos and a Sprite?
Was that 2 crunchy tacos and a Sprite?
Yeah.
Fuck you, you white cocksucker, you.
What?
I say pull around.
Order up.
Nah, I'ma handle this myself. So I pull the taco shell down off the top of the shelf and see, walk to the bathroom to relieve myself inside his taco. This whole thing makes me feel macho. He's sure to smell it better at cilantro. Could you imagine what I'd use for the nachos? About time to deliver the order. I bet he wishes that they caught me at the border.
Levántate la alma por el cielo.
Ay, señorita.
Levántate la alma por el cielo.
to get my food. Something about that dude was kinda rude, but it's cool. I get my food and I'm out. I can't wait any longer. Shove the taco in my mouth. What's that taste? It's kinda tart. What's that smell? Did I fart? No, I didn't, but I fear my taco has been violated by a Mexican's asshole. The worst part is I already bit in. Breath like a dragon and a shit-eating grin. Revenge is a dish best served cold, so I'ma catch this motherfucker when he comes out of the stove.
Levántate el alma por el cielo.
Oh, fuck.
Levántate el alma por el cielo.
Still don't know what you're saying, bitch.
Levántate el alma por el cielo.
Fucking nasty.
Levántate el alma por el cielo.
Waiting in the lot trying to find you. When you walk out of the spot, who's behind you? I'm white as his teeth, my teeth brown as his skin. I can't wait for this motherfucking fight to begin. Walking out to work, there goes that dude right there. I still got part of his order in my underwear. I'm scared, look around, no vatos anywhere. What the fuck's your problem, man? Come up over here. Let me ask you something, why did you do what you did to me? Shit recipe inside me. Fuck! Whitey's got a gun. What I did with my deed out of fun. I would surely run, but I got doo-doo on my buns. Why is dude upset? It's only poo-poo on his tongue. What? It's only poo-poo? It's only doo-doo? I gotta have a fucking mind to shoot you. Ay, cabrón!
Por el cielo. Levántate el alma por el cielo.
I'm bleeding on me, Diggy.
Levántate el alma por el cielo.
Ay, cabrón.
Levántate el alma por el cielo.
Stand up again. Mind is pure, beckoning from light. Spirit smooth like the blue skies.
Pinche mericón.
Like the blue skies.
Welcome back to the Sanitarium. Pretty awesome, huh? It's been a great fucking show. But I guess the moment we've been waiting for, a nice little shit taco sung by the Dirty Twig himself. Go ahead and bring in the segment here. But yes, we promised to reveal a new possible South Park character. No applause for that. There we go. There's some love. And here it is. We all know about Mr. Hanky, the Christmas poo. And now we have Hunter Hanky.
Howdy ho.
Howdy ho. So think about that. South Park producers, when you see this, this is the picture. I know down below you can see the unredacted version of the poop in the toilet. But apparently Hunter Biden likes to take shit in the toilet and take pictures of it. And I mean, I was just telling my buddy here, Patrick, that a couple of days ago that I do that too. I'm guilty. I mean, I'm known as the fart meister. I will sit here and I will rip fucking 12 to 17 second farts. No bullshit. And I'll send it to you. You can ask Paul. Paul's gotten the farts. Ron's gotten the farts. Executioner's gotten the farts. Huh. The fuck's he doing? Alright. He's there. Yeah, he got the ass. But I was
illegal to mail? Isn't that explosive?
What's that?
Is that
Yes.
an explosive when you mail
No,
it?
it's airmail.
I know
yeah,
they
man.
have like explosives, knives, things, a list of things that you can't ship. I don't remember seeing farts on there though. I think we'll be okay.
No, there was a company to where they're having all these hot chicks like fart in jars and like send it, and it's like if you get off from like chicks farting in jars, I think you have a problem.
Bluetooth connected.
So that's where I'm at with that. So I mean, and I'm all about
yes.
And I'm all about the part. Here's Paul. Here's Paul. Paul, my buddy Paul here, Patrick. We used to do the HPI Haunted Paranormal Investigations, and I was a paranormal investigator with Paul. I mostly did the video and everything and the EVPs and stuff. And we would go on road trips together. And I'd ride with him, and I would sit there and I would just let a silent, quiet, like 5-6 second, just a heat bomb. And I'd be sitting there, I'd be waiting for like a few seconds, and I look over at Paul. And you'll see his nostril move a couple times. His nostril will move a couple times, and he'll look over at you. He's on. Hey,
that trip to Los Angeles was hell.
That's the one I'm referring to.
Yeah.
I would see his little nostril go.
Oh my God, that's.
He was getting with it. He looked at me. His head would turn like this. Face.
That was torture.
Yeah. Hey, face. Did you just fart? And I was like, yeah, I did. Yeah. Ooh. That's a spicy meatball.
Mamma mia, that's a spicy meatball.
Hey, got it. So here we have it. Patrick Bergy used to come on the Sanitarium and being our whistleblower, exposing Hunter Biden having shit pics.
The deep shit.
The deep shit. The deep state. The deep shit. Same thing. What do you think? The coolest podcast you ever been on? What do you think?
So yeah, no, I like this. Right? I'm never, this. It's not comfortable. But I'm more comfortable in this environment because I've been doing like this on Wednesdays with my friend Kevin for like a long time. He does a podcast. He was on like IRN broadcast for a while, and he's doing actually stand up now. That's cool. But in this kind of stuff we did, right? So I actually prefer doing this over, sitting there like with a like an actual like serious interview. But I'm still trying to get my message out. I don't care. Like I said, I went on InfoWars. I don't care, and I'll get tied to all of this and that. There's no manual for this, right? But Paul or anybody, what I do like to do, if you guys have any questions, let me know. I like to be able to be like someone out there that's not hiding anything, or what you said, or before the show. Is there anything you won't talk about? No, there's nothing I won't talk about.
I want you to imagine right now. There's this camera out of nowhere, just popped out of nowhere. Poof! Here's this fucking floating camera in front of you. And it's your one chance to be like, you know what? This is what I fucking want. This is what it is. Lick my balls. That camera is in front of you right now. What do you want to say to it?
I want Jordan, Congressman Jordan, to remove Congressman Gates from anything involved with the whistleblower claims I'm making. Because I went to Matt Gaetz in like on the 3rd of January when he was sworn in during the I was VIP at DeSantis's inauguration in 2019 January. I went to him then, told him who I was. I then had all of my documents dropped off to him like 2 or 3 times. He knows who I am, what I'm doing. When I went up to him, like the day that Millie Weaver was released from jail, I ran into him in front of Congress and I said, Matt Gaetz, remember me? PFC Bergy, right? Have you heard about Millie Weaver, her arrest in Shadowgate? And he looks at me and says, oh shit, girlfriend's calling, gotta go. And God is my witness, just started running. And I'm sitting there. There was another guy with me. We put the camera on afterward. We were talking about it, like, holy shit, what just happened? His partner, his like campaign manager was Roger Stone, right? So here I am trying to, and I'm not trying to sit here and say oh, Roger Stone did this or that. No, I'm just trying to say there's a lot of things that I have serious questions for. And that is, I know what I made and what we were doing in 2008. I did not know Paul Manafort was our partner. When I found that out, I wanted to know more, right? And everything that he's been accused of, even in the rigging of like the influence operations that he was accused of in 2010 in Ukraine, those are all things that I would see, that I would have bid on if I was bidding on a subcontract or a contract with, for the Shadow Net, right? I signed the Shadow Net. I have the flyers for it. So I can put those out there and I can say that. And I say, so when I try to get this information, and all of these people since that point, this goes back to 2016, 2017. Since I'm saying that, all of these people have now been shown having been completely involved in all the stuff I've been trying to say, hey, these people, this is a problem. I don't want Democrats or Republicans to be influencing elections using partnerships and IP that was created at taxpayer expense, right? At the very least, I can say that. What better way to be able to do that than for me to be able to testify in front of the Weaponization of Government Committee, right? I'm not the most artful and not the most dramatic, but give me the opportunity to do that, and then give me the opportunity to hit me back with questions, honest ones, not ones that are just trying to destroy you personally. Because if you want to set me up as being an imperfect person, no problem, right? I'm not. But if you want to hear what I have to say as a whistleblower, and you want to say, hey, do you have evidence to support that? And I can say, yes, here's the evidence to support that. And then you look at that and you see the same things that I do, then we need to do something, my friends. We need to have this conversation, and then I'm done. So me in front of the camera saying, I don't want to be doing this. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to try to at least do it right, because, this is kind of like what I did, built this type of stuff when I was working for the government. But I was the IT guy. I wasn't like some, no, I was the IT guy. So I want to be able to testify, and then I want to just be done with this, because my life has been destroyed by these people. I thought I was doing something good by speaking out in Shadowgate. And so many people after Shadowgate supported me in what I was doing. But then without any evidence or anything, they just listened to the lies of other people that were involved and just never asked for any evidence or never asked for any questions. Blindly believed these people and destroyed me, right? And so, okay, but you're not destroying me. I got a puppy. I'm setting up a channel for my dog Shadow. We're calling it Shadow's Crate. Get it? Shadowgate, Shadow's Crate. Because I'm like, man, as much as I want to try to expose this stuff, I feel like I'm becoming more part of the problem than the solution. So I'm taking the skills and the stuff that I have to be able to create content, and I'm putting it on the service dog, my PTSD service dog that I was authorized through the VA to do the training and stuff on that, to be and try to say to people, maybe we're watching too much stuff, maybe we're too deep into this, and we need to step back, because we're destroying ourselves mentally, and we're destroying our country. But it's not by accident, right? They want this. This is, chaos. Creating chaos is IIA PSYOP 101, right? But that's what the enemy tries to do, right? When I was in Iraq, we were supporting the 4th Psychological Operations Group. One of the things that we were supporting them with was they were maintaining the peace for the Sahwa, the awakening, the Sunni awakening, to be specific. There were a few over there. And in the Sunni awakening, you had the Sunni and Shia being brought together for the first time in 1,000 years to fight with us against AQI, Al-Qaeda in Iraq. They were foreign fighters that were coming in from like Turkey and other locations. And what their goal was to blow up checkpoints and stuff where we had Sunni and Shia guarding their own neighborhoods together. It hadn't been done, like I said, for 1,000 years. How was that done? That was done by through communications, right? That was done through the PAO. And IIA supports PAO, and that doesn't have to be. And I'm not sitting here saying that it has to be done with lies. In fact, all I ever witnessed was like us helping them target the right people with truth, right? And okay, what's the harm in that? But you could also take that same capability, that targeting, the predictive analytics, and it's not time travel or something with that. But if I can, Cambridge Analytica was a good example of it, right? With Steve Bannon. Cambridge Analytica, what did they do? They targeted the neurotics. That's what that girl Brittany Kaiser testified to in court. The neurotics is demographics, like I would argue, and this isn't like a slam. I'm kind of like one of them. I'm one of the neurotics, but the InfoWars crowd that I was talking about, to Alex Jones, that are highly susceptible to this. Those are the neurotics that Steve Bannon was targeting, right? And what does he do? They collect the data on them, and InfoWars is just a massive data collection, right? So they collect this data on millions and millions and millions of people and interactions, and they can combine that data with other pieces of data, possibly even subcontracting to companies like ClearForce that can then use their artificial intelligence and their algorithms to put those together and build predictive behavioral models on tens of thousands of people at a time. And then you can sit there and target your messaging to those groups, either individuals or groups around them. You never want to target someone specific. If you wanted to target me, you wouldn't go after me directly. You would go after the people that I'm friends with, and you would influence them, and they would influence me, and I'd never even fucking know, right? So that's how these people work. How you like that? Gives you a bit of understanding. That's what I want to do. That's what I'd like to be able to tell to Congress, right? And to support it and back it up with names. Like I said, go to clearforce.com. What evidence do you want? There's in here, right? Is it a conspiracy theory when you can go to their website and they tell you what they do and they tell you who they are? And I don't believe why can't we have this conversation? Isn't that a conversation we should have? You can see all of mainstream media is their clients. Should Obama's national security advisor and Obama's CIA director, should they be determining who gets a job and loses a job in mainstream media? And should journalists be allowing that? And why aren't journalists reporting that? Maybe if they reported it, they might lose their job.
Exactly. I'll tell you what,
there's a lot of things that the journalists don't report. I mean, somebody is suppressing it.
Oh yeah.
I'll
tell you guys, we went into massive overtime. We are definitely at the end of our show. It's been awesome having you on, Patrick.
We gotta put up the poo. We didn't put up the poo, and I can do that. And I can do an elevator version of that because this is important, right?
Oh, the poo right here.
Yeah. So we did that, but what the thing about this, right? Thing about this is that, thank you very much, is evidence in what is probably going to be the trial of the century, right? So when you think about it, and do you not want to see that as evidence on a big blow up next to Jordan?
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Is that not fucking priceless? We got to have fun. We can't take these people seriously. They're a joke, right? And like I said earlier, if I would have put, the guy, fucking Hunter's hung like a horse, man. If I would have posted pictures of his dick and sex and shit, he'd be the next Paris Hilton. So,
all that crystal meth and crack you was smoking, I doubt that big old dung was going anywhere. So,
Hey, I gotta ask Patrick one thing.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Hey, Patrick, have you been hearing about how President Biden, he meets these official people and he starts farting? And then also, too, just recently, Biden was talking about something, I forget, about arms control. And then right at the end, he says, God save the Queen. So everybody now is very confused and he can't find the exit. He points this way and he points that way, and someone has to lead him out the door. The man has dementia or something. What do you think, Patrick?
Well, I think I'm not a doctor, but you know what's funny? Trump said that as president, as classification authority, he can will things into being classified or not classified, which means basically the mind of the sitting president is free to do whatever it wants with the classification. Couldn't it classify? Couldn't it actually take all the stuff that Trump willed to be declassified and will them to be classified again? You know, people need to be careful. They're not stupid. Your enemy's not stupid.
Oh, yeah. Not at all.
A lot of room up there.
Oh yeah. It was pretty bad talking about some poop.
I hope we get this conversation started. Right?
I don't know.
And
Leatherface,
a bunch of stoners.
And Leatherface and Biden, if they were in the car and I was sitting in the back seat, I'd be in a lot of trouble.
And Paul, anything like as a journalist, anything that I've said tonight, if you come back and say, it literally everything I have is out there. And before I did Shadowgate, I provided all this stuff. DB-214 passports. What do you want, right? Memorandums of understanding signed by the IAA chief stating, "Wow, Bergy did a great job on this classified IAA program in Iraq," with his email address. Okay, so whatever the fuck you want, I'm putting it out there as evidence. And you got to ask yourself, why the fuck our Congress, why the fuck on the left and the right don't want to hear my story? Maybe it's because they're all sitting in office because they use this morally and ethically bankrupt, taxpayer-funded social media psychological warfare capabilities against their opponents who probably were good, honest, decent people that should be there in office, but they won because they cheated. And it may not even technically be illegal, but it's certainly destroying our country.
Got cheated and beat him.
Right?
Well,
right. What do you get? What do you get? Right? Oh, yeah. If you have to be worse than your enemy and then you're in there, have you actually won?
No.
I don't know. The old guy better.
Patrick, I got a question.
Yeah.
I have a question for you, Patrick. When I first came on this show and heard you talk about Biden and the poop, I thought it was a joke. I never heard of that till tonight. Are you telling me this is real, that this man photographs his own poop?
Yeah, and well, it's there with the all the header information from a photo from his laptop, which I have which I got a copy from, both again from Rudy Giuliani and from Tory, which I received a litigation hold notice for all this information, and I sent all this information, including Mr. Hankey here, or Hunter Hankey, to Abby Lowell and the Attorney General of National Security. So they have that. So yeah, it's as legitimate. My job for Rudy was as a IASO, an Information Assurance Security Officer with the Department of Defense for a decade. My job there with Rudy was to verify the authenticity of the documents there. I couldn't see anything wrong with that, although it could be doctored. There are limitations, definitely limitations to what I'm able to do. Like I said, I could make anything look like it was coming from anywhere, right? So
watching that flame dance up my taint.
Blue flame.
Up the taint.
That's incredible.
So there you go.
Incredible.
And there it goes.
Unbelievable. I can't believe that's amazing. The idea that we have a president that photographed his own poop, that is so...
Well, his son, I don't think that's Joe's poop. It's presidential.
Look at the guy. You're right. He does act. I mean, I heard about the God Save the Queen thing, like Paul was talking about, and I heard about other things, and he's always stumbling around. I wouldn't, and the thing with the little girls feeling him up, I wouldn't doubt that the man photographs his own poop, but it's so strange to hear
He
that.
actually photographed like several days of it. It wasn't just one thing. He was proud of it, right?
And here's Ron Trammell.
Let me remember.
Ron being one of the people who has received my farts via messenger.
Oh yeah, I remember the first day you came into my apartment with Maurice, and you guys farted all over the place. I was ready to throw you out.
Hey Ron. Hey Ron.
But I got used to it.
Real quick though, remember what I said. I believe there is a second laptop involved. I believe it's a laptop Lev Parnas was looking for Rudy Giuliani. I believe that I believe it was the one that Hunter himself was talking about losing it to Russian hookers, like in the Ukraine region, while they drugged him. So I think this did exist, and I believe the copy that I had gotten was that version, not the version from the blind guy, right? And how hard would it be to fucking switch on the blind guy anyway, right? It's like, oh, we're stealing candy from fucking Ray Charles here. But if real quick here, if I'm right, then some of this stuff you can't trust. And I hate to say that, I'm just being honest. Some of this stuff might be Russian disinformation. So what do you do?
Patrick, Hunter was probably doing things on the dark web. Was that checked out?
I doubt he had the intelligence to be honest,
no shit.
To run the browser.
yeah, probably not.
No.
He's too busy. He's too busy getting pictures with little girls.
He had subscriptions to different porn sites and shit.
Oh yeah, I bet. Old Sniff and Sniff
Password
Jr.
cash.
Yeah.
All right,
all Hunter Biden had to do was probably just email Leatherface to see how to get on the dark web.
I know. I get on there.
He had emails on there to Tucker Carlson that were extremely like personal. Tucker helped him get like one of his kids into school or something, or vice versa, right? These are all. Look it up, right? So, why is it all the people like Tucker Carlson? Is he not someone that was a key figure and kind of stirring all this shit up? Can we agree that? So then we see him literally in Biden's emails as like best friends, longtime best friends, helping each other get their kids and shit into colleges, right? I don't have anybody that I could call up and do that. It's that kind of a friend. So, we got to just step back, my friends, and say, maybe we're just getting fucking played.
Yeah, no shit.
And it's funny how they cut Tucker loose.
Yeah. Well, okay. Again, Sidney Powell, she was directly connected to that, right? Because of a time traveler. Tori submitted her stuff anonymously through Sidney Powell into those cases, right? And Tori's a time traveler. So, and the stuff that she was putting in there was bullshit, right? So literally that stuff through Sydney coming in from our team in DC back in November, December of 2020 was what Dominion used to basically destroy Fox News. This has all been a tactical coordinated op by the other side, by the way, that has been quite successful, if you were to ask me.
There it is.
Amazing.
We're losing, but you got to give credit where credit's due to your enemy, right?
Right.
Pretty slick. Wish I'd thought of that.
All right, man.
Well, you're definitely, Patrick, an amazing guest.
I appreciate you guys having me on. I really do. I really do. I like to play around, like to have a sense of humor. If you didn't, you'd go fucking crazy.
You go crazy.
But
Patrick, people like you are what America is all about.
Thanks, sir.
And Patrick, thank you.
We're definitely a different show going on.
Patrick,
yeah, thanks for coming on, man.
Whoop. And to all the fathers out there, Almost happy Father's Day.
Almost another hour and 6 minutes.
There you go. There you go.
Hour 6 minutes.
It's our day. It's our one day. Although the LGBTQ community tried to take it, I think, last year and this year again. We're going to have to fight for it, guys.
We'll fight all the way. No problem on that one. All right. Thanks for coming on. Sanitarium with Leatherface. Patrick Bergy. Saturday Night Live. We're out of here. What you think?
Hey, thank you very much, guys.
The steady viewers, thanks for coming on. We off the hook.
Nice.
You know
I hope it gets a positive. Let me know, what the feedback is on that. It'd be nice if we could actually do this, right? Get me in front of Congress. How funny would that be? Right? At the very least, these people would be totally fucked because I don't take a lot of shit. I'm respectful. I'm professional. I've briefed 4-star generals, but I'm really over this shit. If you haven't noticed,
yeah. You gotta draw the line somewhere.
The government says I'm 50% broken, and that's because they don't know about the other 50% yet.
Well, we got some battles ahead, buddy. Thanks for coming on. We'll see you next time, bud.
Thanks very much, Bob. Anytime you guys want to
Patrick Bergy, Ron, Mr. Fibbit, Purple Sticky, everybody else who came on tonight. Have a good night.
Night.
Get off the hook, biatch.